evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Beavercreek City Council. I'll do this again when I turn my mic on. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Beavercreek regular meeting of the Beavercreek City Council. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bales.
Here.
Councilmember Curran.
Here.
Councilmember Dewar.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Schwartz.
Here.
Vice Mayor Adams.
Here.
Mayor Stone.
Here. This time, I'd like to turn it over to Vice Mayor Adams.
I'd like to ask the Boy Scouts to join me down front, please. I'll let you guys start it off.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I'd like to take just a couple minutes tonight. We're coming up on the year anniversary of the COVID, and I think everybody in here has been touched in some way, shape, or form, either through work or having people in your family or friends that have had it. I've actually had some friends of mine pass away from it. And I'd like to take just a minute for a moment of silence for those that have passed away, but also the people that work on the front lines, our medical workers, our police officers, our EMTs, our firefighters, the nurses and doctors that are working with us every day. So if you join me just for about a few minutes or a few seconds with a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And before we leave the Scouts off the hook, I would like each one of you to come up to the microphone and give us your name and your troop number, please.
I can't reach.
It'll get you.
It'll get you.
There you go.
My name is Lucy Hurd, and I'm from Pack 263.
Well, welcome. Who's next? Come on up. You're good. Go ahead.
My name is Jack, and I'm from Pack 263.
All right. Thank you for being here tonight.
Welcome.
Next, please.
My name is Joanna Edwards, and I'm from Pack 263.
Thank you.
My name is Hari Chandra, and I'm from Pack 263.
Well, thanks for joining us this evening. And I will say that you all are more than welcome to be excused if you like, but you're also more than welcome to stick around. So whatever it pleases you. We have an agenda before us this evening. Any alterations?
Seeing none, move to approve agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. All right, we'd have no minutes to approve tonight, so let's move right into the public hearing, PUD 21-1.
This is an application filed by United Church Homes Incorporated, Nathan Bollinger, 170 East Center Street, Marion, Ohio, 43301. The application requests approval to rezone 36.085 acres from A1 agricultural and RPUD 427R-2 residential plan unit development to RPUD residential plan unit development. The properties are located at 3218 Indian Ripple Road, further described as Book 6, page 7, parcels 33, 8, and 3 on the Greene County Property Tax Atlas.
Thank you. Is there an applicant present this evening? Come on up and give us a name, please.
Raise it up just a little bit. Can I take this down?
You may, if you wish.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Russ Carver. I'm with them M&A Architects out of Columbus, and MA will be the architect for this project. And I know that the staff has put together a presentation, and I'm sure you've seen it. Some things will be up, but I just want to take a little bit to explain what the project is. I'm sure you guys are all aware of United Church Home and their Trinity Beavercreek campus, and it's a senior retirement community. It has healthcare, post-acute healthcare services on it, and some memory care and some higher acuity care for our elder population here in Beavercreek. On the campus also, they have some independent living cottages that go around the north side of the campus. They have purchased and have retained some parcels, 2 parcels on about 10 acres that are just to the west of their current parcel. And the request here tonight is obviously is for the approval of the rezone for that parcel in order for them to continue the mission which that Trinity campus does, which is housing for our senior citizens. So the plan is to construct an independent living building to round out the offerings there and to bring additional units in an apartment-style building. It'll be a 3-story wood frame building that will be there on the northwest of the new parcels there. I said it's going to be independent living, so it'll have one and one bedroom at the den apartments and 2-bedroom apartments. It'll have food services, activity services, some fitness centers, things of that nature inside of it. It also is going to be looking at being able to offer more outdoor activities, not only to the residents in the new building, but also begin to supplement some of those outdoor activities for the residents that currently live there. So in concept, it's a very simple project. It's just a continuation of the good faith and the good work that United Church Homes does here in Beavercreek through an expansion of their independent living offerings. So I'm here, and I've got some members of both the Trinity campus and United Church Home that can answer any questions. I can answer any other questions the council may have.
All right, there just may be some, but we're going to get a staff presentation first. So
And I was here a month ago, and they did a very nice job. So
Okay,
thank you very much.
thank you.
My name is Randy Burkett. I was with Troop 234 and and 56. So, anyway.
Well, welcome.
The case you have before you is PUD 21-1. Again, it's the rezoning of the Trinity community on Indian Ripple Road. The property is currently on the north side, well, it's on the north side of Indian Ripple, about a mile east of Indian Ripple and North Fairfield Road. The PUD right now is PUD 429. This is an older style PUD that was established well before the city was incorporated. And so when we inherited that PUD, it's a R2 with a PUD overlay. So they can do everything in an R2, but we just got PUD overlay analysis ability for site plans and things. So what they're wanting to do, again, as the applicant stated, is extend some of their services onto these 2 A1 properties. And in order to do that, they need to rezone that A1 property. And rather than trying to extend an older PUD or have 2 separate PUDs and use them crossways, we are proposing to rezone the entire thing into a whole new PUD, which would be PUD 21-1. Again, the property is currently the PUD 427. To the north is an R1A, as well as to the south, and then to the east and the west are A1 properties. And again, the two 5-acre parcels right now that they're proposing to add in as part of the new PUD is A1 as well. The property is, the 2 5-acre parcels is mixed use on our land use plan, which is a combination of commercial and residential uses, and really a assisted living facility and senior apartments is a mix of both residential and commercial services. There's commercial services on site for the residents who live there. So this request is compatible in what we have in mind for the land use plan for this area. Just a few of the select conditions in the proposed ordinance for your consideration. One is that the permitted uses allowed in this would be nursing homes, assisted living facilities, adult daycare, and retirement communities, which is similar to what occurs there now. It's basically an extension of 427. Also, as a housekeeping item, we want to adopt the existing site as it is as the approved specific site plan, so that we're modifying an existing site plan rather than trying to piecemeal an old site plan with a new site plan. So that's it's something we've done in many other PUDs when we rezone them. Also, what's not there now that we propose in this PUD is a buffer along the north, east, and western property lines, and that's to prevent either parking lots or buildings within that 50 feet buffer of the existing residentials on the north and the south, as well as what we would anticipate based on the land use plan, this to be a form of low density or medium density residential. So we're trying to keep a separation of that uses, and it's easier to do that now than trying to do it with the PUD, with something going forward in BPA 93. Also, there is proposed a 40-foot building setback along Indian Ripple Road. Seen here is a proposed concept plan, but it really just shows the buffers and the building setbacks and the existing site it is. But this is what the concept, as alluded to in the proposed ordinance, talks about, is this plan here. Again, you can see the red is where I highlighted where the 50-foot buffer is, and the yellow is where I've highlighted the 40-foot building setback is. There are actually 9 conditions in your ordinance for your approval that we recommend approval this evening. Planning Commission also recommended approval at their last Planning Commission meeting. And I will be happy to answer questions following the public hearing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing. So if there's anyone here this evening that would like to address council on this application, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and open it up to council. Any concerns? We'll start on the right.
I don't have any concerns. I think it's an appropriate use of the agricultural land. And I really just want to thank you for your continued investment in the Beavercreek community, and I think that it'll be a fantastic addition.
Go ahead.
No comments from me, just to say that again to echo Councilmember Bales, thank you for your investment.
Over here, any comment?
Same with Councilmember Bales' comments. Welcome again for the expansion, and we're glad to have you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I hate to be the broken record, but again, thank you. We're glad to see the expansion. I do think it's an appropriate use. I think it'll be a great addition to the community. So appreciate it. Thank you.
No comment, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Vice Mayor?
I'm in agreement with everyone else. The only question I had was on the 50-foot buffer on the east, but you took care of that. I wanted to make sure that we were on that. But thank you for expanding in Beavercreek, and I know several people that live out there, and it's a great asset for Beavercreek.
Well, I'm going to be different. I have a question. Is there a secondary access planned? I know this is a concept, but will
That would really be based on what they come forward with the site plan.
we discussed it when they did the expansion of the single-family units or the doubles. We discussed the need for a second entrance back then. So I think it's something that both parties, the city and the applicant, ought to keep in mind, and just to see if we can work in. I know that terrain is not real good, but at one point we had talked about just creating a little Y, so that at least you could, if something's blocking at the roadway, at least you have another way in or out. But now that you've got the land to the west, I don't know if the topography will be more accommodating or not, but as we move to site plan, that's something I'll be taking a look at. Sure.
I recognize that all I think we're asking for is not a final development plan, and it's
Sure.
just the rezone. But we have spoke to the engineering and planning about secondary access, and I think you'll see in our development strategies and design solutions that we'll be addressing the planning departments. and
I
city
appreciate it,
departments.
yeah. Thank you very much. And again, welcome. Not welcome, you've been here all along. Glad you're still here. All right. Any other comments? Do I hear a motion?
Move to second reading, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move ordinance 21-04 on to the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is Resolution 21-05.
This is a resolution approving the amended solid waste management plan of the Greene County Solid Waste Management District.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Council. I'm Dana Dahl. I'm the manager of Greene County Environmental Services, and hiding in the background, wave Randy, is Randy Gilbert. He is the Assistant Director of Greene County Sanitary Engineer. Environmental Services is a division within the Sanitary Engineering Department. We are also known as your Solid Waste Management District. In Greene County, we're called Environmental Services. Across the state in the Ohio Revised Code, we get to be known as a Solid Waste Management District. I'm here to present to you tonight our solid waste management plan, asking for your approval of the amended plan. This is required by Ohio Revised Code, and it focuses on recycling as well as outreach programs. You lied, Pete.
It did. I'll do it for you.
There we go. Stay. Okay. We have a broad spectrum of representation on this board. We have a policy committee, and their responsibility is to compose the solid waste management plan. The first four, Mr. Kugler, Mr. Landrum, we're very familiar with him, as well as Mr. Hollister, Mr. Isaacson. Those four members are appointed by the Ohio Revised Code. It is their responsibility to appoint the other three, which we have Mr. Dalton, Mr. McNally, and Mr. Amrine. And Mr. Amrine is a neighbor. He is employed with the Beavercreek Township and has been a longtime resident of Greene County. So we're appreciative of having him involved. For your information, Mr. Dalton is a representative of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is our largest employer, therefore normally our largest generator of solid waste. So this group's responsibility was to amend the solid waste management plan. It is called an amended plan, but it is technically a complete rewrite. The state of Ohio changed the format. The former format was called 3.0. We now fall under format 4.0. So I believe you were provided with about a 216-page document. That is the amended plan. So it's a pretty detailed and extensive document. It is broken into two categories by intent. One is chapters and the other is appendices. The chapters are designed for you as your local government officials. It's also designed for your customers or the citizens of Greene County. The appendices are focused towards the policy committee that has to go through the decision-making process, your staff as well as the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and their review. The baseline year to develop your solid waste management plan was calendar year 2018. Very grateful because there were a few occurrences that happened in 19 and 20. So we're grateful that the baseline year was 18 and we didn't have to make some modifications to the baseline data. And again, your plan will begin in calendar year 2021. It will continue through calendar year 2036. There'll be rewrites. So we have to write it for a 15-year time period, but every 5 years it has to be amended and updated. So it is an active living document through the process. You have recycling goals that you have to meet. We have the residential and commercial that are currently in Greene County. We are at 31%. According to the state of Ohio, we have to be at 25%. And I'm going to show off a little bit because the state average is 29%. So we are amazing here in Greene County that we're seeing both the state's goal for residential and commercial as well as the state average. The industrial goal that is mandated through this plan is an 80% recycling rate. or 66, I'm sorry, 60% by the state of Ohio. The state average is 55%, and in Greene County we're at 80%. That is a direct correlation with CMEX and the amount of material that they are recycle through their productions. One major component is the generation fee. It is scheduled to be maintained at $10 per ton. It's at $10 per ton. It's been at $10 per ton for many years, and it will continue at that level through the planning process. So to talk about some of the programs, even a little bit more shorter than your executive summary that was shared with you, we're still going to have the recycling complex on Greenway Boulevard. So the drop-off for the household commodities as well as the special events that we do for hazardous waste and other targeted commodities. One of the major additions with this plan is outreach. So there will be a public information officer. That person is currently hired, and they will be focusing a lot when we're allowed to be back in schools. They will be working with school programs as well as our local community groups, and then obviously we all function through social media. So we will have a much more aggressive campaign outreach with our social media. One of the major commodities that we're going to talk about is cardboard. We've seen the effect from our cardboard being collected at our commercial sectors to where it is now being generated at our homes. So we've seen a major shift in that. So that's just an example of one of the commodities that will be targeted. We're also going to work with the communities on some curbside studies to see how successful those programs are in collecting commodities. This is a very public process. You have your policy committee that is responsible for writing the solid waste management plan, but it was also subject to a public comment period that was advertised through all local jurisdictions as well as our standard newspaper and social media. So there was a 30-day public comment period that was followed by a public hearing that was conducted via Zoom. As a result of that, we did not receive any written comments, nor do we have any comments from the public that were received at the public hearing. So now it's your turn to take action. That we have done our due diligence as a policy committee and as staff to put the plan together. It's been subjected to a first review by Ohio EPA, and then we had the public comment period and the public hearing. And now it's legislative action that's required by each of the jurisdictions. You can do this by either resolution or ordinance. You've chosen to do this by resolution, which is standard. And you have 90 days from the time that I distributed this information, which was at the end of December. You have 90 days to take action on the plan. For this plan to be ratified, there are some minimum standards. It will require action by the Board of County Commissioners. They approved the plan last week. It will require approval by the largest municipality. We're here in the city of Beavercreek this evening, as well as 60% of the population. And that can be inclusive of the city of Beavercreek. Since you're almost 30%, you're 28% of our population. So to get to 60%, yes, you are part of that total 60%. So I come before council this evening to do two things. One, to ask for approval of the amended solid waste management plan, and then also to extend my appreciation to your policy committee representative, Mr. Lantrum. He has been very engaged in the process, has forgiven me for taking him through the Excel workbook that supports this is about 100 tabs. So not to mention instructions. So he has been very kind to sit through an extensive amount of data and information to protect not only the city of Beavercreek, but also as a representative for all of the municipalities within Greene County. We were also blessed that we had normally had representation from the city of Xenia as well as the city of Fairborn, that they, even though Mr. Lantrum is the only voting member, that those communities also attended our policy committee meetings. So at this time, I would be happy to entertain any questions, or Mr. Lantrum, how would you like to proceed forward?
Anything to add, sir? No. All right. Councilmember Curran, any comment?
I want to thank you for the presentation. I served for about 25 years on a solid waste in Montgomery County.
Yes, sir.
And really appreciated the direction and the help and the leadership that we were able to put together, and I'm sure you're doing an excellent job. And we're supposed to have a workshop on this, aren't we? Or something on solid waste? Did somebody?
It may be at one of the work sessions.
Maybe
We'll
at a
see.
workshop. We have, what, 90 days, ma'am?
You have 90 days to take
see.
action, but there may be something else on the agenda.
Okay. Well, thank you
Yes.
very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Councilmember Schultz.
I also just want to extend my thanks. The report was very thorough. I will be very honest, I did not read it completely in its entirety, but this was a great summary. Glad to see that the numbers are higher than the state average, and very pleased that the yard waste facility will still be in action. My husband frequents that, so
Right.
he'll be happy to keep it. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilmember Garcia.
Yeah, thank you also for the materials that you provided. It was very detailed. The charts were very helpful as well, so I appreciate all of the information that you put in there. And then also thank you to our city manager who worked so closely with this committee to get this put together for us. It's definitely a lot of information to review, but always very helpful, so thank you.
Councilmember Dewar.
I'm a self-professed nerd, so I really enjoyed reading it.
Thank you.
I
Enjoyed every word of it.
I work in another jurisdiction in Greene County, so just seeing where it fit was really very good for me. So thank you for your thoroughness, because it's very, very detailed throughout the document, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Bales.
Well, I too have to admit that I did indeed read it as well, probably because I'm also at another jurisdiction as well, and we had to adopt the plan. But I'm glad to see that you're having more public information that's going to be put out there in the future. And the plan, it's an arduous task. I've been through it before with you, and I appreciate your work, so thank you.
Vice Mayor Adams.
Well, as everyone said, I read it as well. I only fell asleep twice. No, I'm kidding. I did have one question, and I really don't, it doesn't really pertain to this, but I know there's been a lot of discussion about recycling.
Yes, sir.
Is it actually happening?
Yes, sir.
Because I know a lot of reports that I've gotten is that nobody takes this stuff anymore. And I mean, whether that's true or not, this is the perception that's out there, because I was on another board, and one of the questions that came up was, where's it going? Is it just going to landfill, or are they actually recycling?
I would love to follow up with you and that board because we are blessed with an amazing private sector in this area. Rumpke is the main force. They are collecting the commodities. They have a world-class flagship material recovery facility between Dayton and Cincinnati. They are sending their commodities to, we'll talk about two, that stay local. Glass is going up in the northern part of the state. It becomes new bottles. They also have a partnership in Indiana where it becomes fiberglass. We also have, this is exciting. I'll come back another time. This will be the brief version though. I get a little passionate about this because we also have Pratt Industries that just opened a brand new paper mill in Wapakoneta, Ohio. That is close. They want 40,000 pounds per month of cardboard and paper. So thank you for asking this question and allowing me a few moments, because a lot of the information that we see from either of the coast and what we see there versus the resources that we have in Midwest Ohio don't match. The materials that we are collecting, that we are processing, are being recycled. So thank you for asking that question and gauging me a few moments here in the passion that, yes, it is being recycled.
Well, thank you for that, because that's been a bone of contention with several of the groups that I've talked with, and I appreciate your information, and I'm glad to hear that. I really am. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
That's all I
sir.
have.
And I just want to say thank you as well, but extend the thank you for all your help during the after the tornado. That was amazing. We needed all the help we could get, and so thank you very much for that.
As a side note, there is debris management for debris generating events is also in this plan. It's going to happen again.
It will.
Hopefully not for a long time.
Let's hope not. I agree. So the floor is yours if you have any further comments. If not, we'll see if there's a motion. Anything you want to add?
I'd like to congratulate this council for having members that read through a 216-page document, because usually I get a deer in the headlights look, and with the massive amount of document, and we invest time to take care of you. So the fact that you took time to read that is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Any further comment?
Do you
Right
have
here.
a copy of it? You just got an extra copy?
I'm not with me this evening.
Okay. Just ask.
Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve Resolution 21-05.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 21-05. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Your motion, or the resolution passed. Motion passed. Thank you very much.
My humble thanks, council.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That was good information.
And Mr. Landrum, at another time, we'll come back and talk about programs to educate your customers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is ordinance 21-01.
This is the second reading of an ordinance amending the zoning map by rezoning 0.9425 acres from I-1 Light Industrial to CPUD Commercial Planned Unit Development, further described as Book 5, Page 7, Parcel 31 on the Greene County Property Tax Atlas.
Thank you. Do we have any new information that needs to be presented?
It's coming up. Yes, at the last city council meeting, there was discussion on adding a few additional prohibited uses in the PUD. Staff went back and took a look at some of the B2 uses and proposing to eliminate what I've highlighted in yellow: gas stations, funeral services, shooting range, skating rinks, and veterinary clinics. Those are some uses that we didn't think belong based on the location being next to the bike path, as well as the sheer physical limitations that the site does prove. That these were some uses that we thought that we would be able to remove without issue.
Any discussion on those changes? Do I have a motion to approve the alteration to amendment to ordinance 21-01?
Well, Your Honor, I move that ordinance 21-01, PUD 20-1 be approved.
Council member, I'd like to get a amended ordinance first, so we'll be right back to that one. If it hold,
I
go
move
ahead.
to amend
Okay.
ordinance 21-01.
That's all we need. Thank you.
Do that
I'll
first.
second.
So I have a motion and a second to amend ordinance 21-01. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now, the original motion was sponsored by Councilmember Kern, so now you may,
All right, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve ordinance 21-01, Creek Stop rezoning.
do I hear a second?
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 21-01 as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, ordinance 21-02.
This is the second reading of an ordinance amending the zoning map by rezoning 53.75 acres from RP-1 Research Park District to IPUD Industrial Plan Unit Development, further described as Book 2, Page 5, Parcel 2 on the Greene County Property Tax Atlas.
Thank you. Is there any new information from staff or the applicant? Seeing none, any discussion? This ordinance was sponsored by Councilmember Schwartz.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 21-02.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 21-02. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next is ordinance 21-05.
This is the first reading of an ordinance repealing Chapter 137, Weapons Control of the City of Beavercreek Code of Ordinances, and adopting new Chapter 137, Weapons Control of the City of Beavercreek Code of Ordinances.
Thank you. This is the first reading. Do we, let's see here. Is there anything from staff other than what was already presented? Anything you need to present tonight? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone present tonight that would like to address council on this ordinance? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if it's all right, I'd like to have Mr. McHugh just give a brief update as to why these changes are being made, if that's okay, just to educate
Absolutely.
any viewers watching at home and our sparse audience as to what exactly the purpose of this is. So, Mr. McHugh, do you mind just giving a little update from the legal side?
Certainly. The Ohio Revised Code was modified by the legislature, and the position had been with another number of communities, and I can almost say pretty much universally across the state, that under home rule, the communities could choose to, form how they wanted to have certain provisions of with respect to weapons, because it's a serious subject. Unfortunately, the cities have universally lost with respect to these, so it's been determined that at the end of the day, the cities have to really follow the Ohio Revised Code because it's a matter of general law. In the state of Ohio, there are a number of statutes that are general laws, and as such, the state will take precedence over the cities. So in order to bring this into compliance, what we've changed here is if the Ohio Revised Code said this, we changed it to this and just deleted what ours, and we've created where the Ohio Revised Code had a couple sections, I think like .081 and .082, where ours may have said .08. So in order to keep in compliance and literally follow exactly what the Ohio Revised Code is, where previously we might have one section, we broke things apart so that we could just say it's the Ohio Revised Code. So that's what this is. And universally, in most communities I've dealt with really make these changes. It's not, they really rather have their own ability to do things, but unfortunately, we need to follow the code. And there are some consequences if you don't, with respect to, trying to enforce something that ultimately is found to be in violation. So it can carry a pretty stiff cost to the community. So it's the best course is to, and what I did tonight was I gave the chief a highlighted copy with the cross-reference between the ORC and our code, because I thought that might be helpful for the officers when, they're going through some of their meetings to go, okay, you're used to the ORC, this section, well, our section is the same thing. Here it is, so just to make it a little easier for them on a day-to-day operational basis. So.
And that's the real key, I believe, is that this change is to protect the taxpayer in our community so that we're not liable for trying to enforce a law that is not allowed to be enforced.
Correct.
And so that is the real crux of why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, because I wanted viewers to understand that this is something where our current code, through no fault of our own, is now not in compliance based on the changes that the Ohio legislature has made. So in order to protect our residents, our taxpayers, and our city, we need to bring the code up into compliance with what the Ohio legislature has said. So I appreciate the legal opinion on that, and I appreciate you giving us that to our viewers so that everyone can kind of understand exactly why these changes are being made. And this is something that the city, or at least speaking on my own behalf, we have not taken on ourselves just to do.
We had a great example previously, which was with respect to the solid waste plant. That's a statute of general law in the state of Ohio. We don't really have a choice to form our own solid waste. There are certain requirements, as Stahl stated, we have to comply with. So, and that, we need to comply. So.
I was just going to say that even though I didn't get through the solid waste plan, I'm glad that we have a variety of interest up here because I did get through the revised code. So we bring a wide array of talent up on the dais.
I think it's the legal side of it.
Yeah, I know.
I got us through this one.
That's good.
That's right.
Okay. Charles, anything
Nothing, Your Honor.
on this side?
No, I just thankful for Councilmember Garcia is just to describe that this is something that we have to abide by and to get in front of it. So I think that explanation was very useful. So thank you to you as well, Mr. McHugh.
I have nothing, thank you.
Vice Mayor?
I read that whole thing too, and it was been a long weekend. But it was, and I only fell asleep 3 times on this one, so. But no, we really don't have a choice. I think when it comes right down to it, we have to go with what the ORC does. So, because we can lose out if we don't, so.
All right. This is the first reading of this ordinance, so it needs to be moved to the second reading. Is there a motion?
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to move ordinance 21-05 on to the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next is Resolution 21-06.
This is a resolution by Beavercreek City Council to proceed to levy a renewal tax in excess of 10 mil limitation in accordance with RC 5705.19 and subsection 5705.19G as amended for constructing, reconstructing, resurfacing, and repairing streets, roads, and bridges as authorized by the Ohio Revised Code, which levy shall be 3 4/10 mils, which is a renewal levy to run for a continuing period of time, and declaring that the question of the renewal tax levy shall be submitted to the electors at the election to be held on May 4th, 2021.
Thank you. Mr. Thonrow.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. I think the clerk stated it very well. In fact, we're here this evening to actually request that City Council pass a resolution so that we can place a 3.4 mil levy back on the ballot. At the previous meeting, City Council had requested by resolution that the county auditor certify the millage, which is the first step in placing this on the ballot. The county auditor has provided that additional information back to us. The 3.4 mil levy will generate $4.7 million based on the county auditor's estimate. Tonight, we're requesting that City Council place on the ballot that question. This would be on the May 4th ballot. This levy represents approximately 76% of our levy fund, street levy fund. This is the operation portion of our levy. This is the piece that helps allow the staff to do the work that needs to get done. This renewal is not an increase in residents' taxes, and this levy will cost residents $88.93 per $100,000 valuation of their home. It allows the Public Service Division to maintain those 250 centerline miles of roadway, everything from street lighting to signs to traffic signals, pavement markings, and then the services that we provide as well, including street sweeping, pavement repairs, mowing, landscaping, ditching, and highlighted today, salting and snow removal, and over the weekend as well, I should indicate. This levy is critical to the operation of our street department and maintaining our infrastructure. It does require that City Council, by 2/3 vote, pass this resolution so that it can be placed on the city ballot, or excuse me, on the ballot for residents to consider for voting on the May 5th election. And staff does recommend that City Council approve this resolution. Be happy to answer any specific questions that you have at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. So just for clarity, this is the May 4th is when this will be on the ballot. Just a typo on our agenda there. Okay. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 21-06.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 21-06. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Curran?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewar?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Councilmember Bales?
Yes.
Mayor Stone?
Yes. Thank you. Next is resolution 21-07.
This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a new public safety information sharing network interagency agreement.
Hello, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. It's my pleasure to be here, and we'll go over this public safety information sharing network agreement. The first one of these took place in 2008 with the Greene County Public Safety Information Sharing Network, where the outlining participants share of the contributions of the system maintenance costs. The original participants and their contributions shares consisted of Greene County at 40%, City of Fairborn at 20%, City of Xenia at 20%, and City of Beavercreek 10%, and Beavercreek Township at 10%. These are all the same principal partners again in this collaborative project that enhances public safety through the establishment of a countywide records management system and has resulted in more efficient information sharing throughout Greene County. The original agreement was, this maintenance agreement was renewed in 2015. And as we enter into this new 5-year maintenance agreement with the software vendor, New World Tech Systems, is now called Tyler Technologies, a new interagency agreement between the participants must be executed. The total maintenance cost and contribution shared by the original participants for the new 5-year agreement will remain the same and unchanged at $180,000 a year, with the City of Beavercreek share at 10% at $18,000 per year. In addition to the annual maintenance cost share, the City of Beavercreek's cost share of 10% of the system hardware maintenance fund will be $6,000, and the contingency fund cost at 10% will be $2,500. All of these anticipated costs for the share amounts were approved in the 2021 budget, and staff recommends approval of this resolution.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council?
Mayor, I motion to approve Resolution 21-07.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 21-07. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Decision items. First is the approval of council member to attend the Ohio Parks and Recreation Association Annual Conference. So I'm going to ask Councilmember Bales if he would just give us a very brief overview of what this is about.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As requested last year, I am requesting again a motion to allow me to attend the annual Parks and Recreation Convention. It's being held in April this year, pending COVID and some perhaps cancellations, but right now they're offering their lower registration rate if we register before the end of the month. And so I thought I'd take this time to request the approval there. I do believe it's important for a council member to attend. They often talk about legislative updates that are happening throughout the state with regards to parks and recreation issues, and they talk about trends. There's a lot of leadership development, and I just feel like it's a very valuable conference that is on par with some of the other national conferences such as ICMA or the National League of Cities. And so I am a strong advocate for our parks, and so I would request that you allow me to attend.
All right, thank you. And for those that aren't aware, Councilmember Bale spent much of his early career in the Parks and Rec field, and so he is a natural for this. And so, any questions or discussion on this?
I would also agree that you are a strong advocate for our parks. So I would move to approve Pete Bales to participate in the 2021 Ohio Parks and Recreation Annual Conference.
Second.
I have a motion in multiple seconds. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Council time. Let's just shift it around just a little bit. Councilmember Garcia, would you like to be first for a change?
Thank you. I don't have much tonight. I just want to thank again Donna Dahl, who came from Greene County Environmental Services tonight, as well as Mr. McHugh and our legal counsel for sending us all the documents for tonight's meeting. I think this meeting went pretty quickly as far as our meetings go, but I want residents to be assured that we get lengthy documents. Our last packet was over 300 pages of information that you heard from multiple council members that we review, as well as the information that we review during work sessions. So it really makes our meetings go a lot quicker and a lot smoother once we have all the information. So thank you to everyone who prepares those documents for us. And thank you to staff for all of your hard work.
All right. Councilmember Schultz.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind residents that this week is Restaurant Week. I know that there is at least one restaurant here in Beavercreek, and I saw that a lot of the restaurants are actually doing carry-out this time around. So it's a great way to get a deal on a food or a restaurant that you haven't got to try yet, and a great way to support your local businesses. So I encourage you to frequent at least one of the restaurants this week. The next thing I wanted to mention, and I think it kind of maybe was overshadowed by the inauguration, but I think that it's very important to just touch upon. The city of Toledo lost another one of their officers this past week, and this is the second one in the past year that they've lost in the line of duty. And I think it's a perfect time that we all just kind of take a moment to reflect, and kind of as Council or Vice Mayor Adams had mentioned, just thanks to our first responders, thank you to the officers here in Beavercreek. You know, we had an officer at the Capitol building who also lost his life in the line of duty. So these officers are out risking their lives for our public safety, and so I think it's important that we remember that and keep them in our thoughts and prayers. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Curran.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to encourage all of our audience to get their COVID shot. I got the opportunity to get mine, and there was a lot of people out there at the Old Career, and one of our council members working all of his hand to the bone there in helping people out. But just we've got this opportunity this entire month, and I think February 8th is the last date for the first round. And I want to encourage our audience to get out there and get your COVID shot. Secondly, we lost a champion in Beavercreek, Ed Dressler. Some of you knew him very well. And he was kind of considered the champion of the bike path, and he passed away here early in January, and just wanted to recognize him for all the efforts that he put forward to put Beavercreek on the map as one of the chief bike areas of our state. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Dewar.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start by wishing my twin daughters a very happy 5th birthday today. Just such a joy being their dad, and so happy birthday. Second, I'd like to thank our first responders. There have been a number of serious situations recently where they've responded very well, and to thank them for their professionalism. And finally, I'd like to thank the mayor for inviting the Cub Scout troops that joined us earlier today before council session. It was really wonderful to field some questions and to hear from the future of Beavercreek. One young man was asking about he has to travel to another municipality to practice archery. So I said, okay, I'll raise that today. Just in terms of people in the public thinking about things that and recreational activity for our youth and those older as well. So thank you, Mayor.
You're very welcome, and we may have somebody that can get some information on archery when he goes to this seminar.
Indeed.
Councilmember Bear.
I too would like to thank Scout Pack 263 for coming out tonight. You know, they had some very interesting questions on point with our community and the county, and it's always exciting to talk to them and hear their perspectives, and I know they all really love sitting in the mayor's seat and especially banging the gavel. So, I would also like to say that we passed a resolution tonight to put 3.4 mills on the ballot this coming spring. I mean, I think we heard our community loud and clear this past November, but now's the time when we really need their support for this property tax initiative to fund our streets. So I'd like to urge everybody to, again, get the information they need and really understand what we're asking and how critical it is to our infrastructure. And then kind of along the lines of Councilwoman Schwartz, we also lost the life of a state trooper due to COVID recently. So I kind of wanted to reiterate the fact that how diligent we need to be with our masks. And just bear with it, get your shot if you so believe so, and we'll get through this together. So, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Adams.
Well, first I'd like to say happy birthday to Councilman Bales, just about a week or so ago. Councilman Dewar brought it up, so I thought I'd pass that along.
There's no twin daughters.
No, no
Okay.
twin daughters here.
Happy birthday.
It's nowhere near as important as his daughter's birthday.
I was really pleased to see the Scout Troop here tonight. It was, I enjoy doing those things. It's fun talking to these kids and seeing how excited they get when they sit in this chair over here. It's just a shame we couldn't do what we normally do and let them maybe produce a law as we have in the past, but hopefully we'll get back to that sometime soon. As a couple others have said, this COVID thing, and as I said earlier, this COVID thing is real. We need to really handle it properly and take care of ourselves and take care of everyone around us. There is something coming up this Friday, though, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The mall is doing a salute to flight over the next several months. One of the things that I'm really excited about is because I'm involved with this in another life, is the Right Be Flyer is out there, and we'll have a ribbon cutting for that. And so if you'd like to come out, it'll be at 2 o'clock at the mall on Friday. And that's all I have.
All right, very good. Yeah, that's, if you get the time, stop out at the mall at 2 o'clock. It should be good. The Right Be replica that's sitting there now is just waiting for an audience. The Scouts, it was such a pleasure. I've been having the Scouts in for 5 years whenever we can. And this last year, when we've not been able to bring them into the City Hall, has really been a disappointment in my efforts. But that I've tried Zoom, and even last week I did a Zoom meeting with Scouts, and it's not the same. It just does not work. I mean, I do it because they ask for it, but it's not the same. You just don't have that same interaction, regardless of whether they can come up here and sit or not. There's still not that same interaction and same excitement. So I'm glad that to see the community starting to be, you got to be cautious. I'm not suggesting anybody be careless, but we were very cautious as how we allowed them to be here and keeping social distance. So I was glad it worked out. And thank you all for coming and joining me. I appreciate that. OMA, the Ohio Mayor's Alliance, we had our recent meeting. I sent you all forwarded all of you some information on that. The primary discussions were on COVID, as well as the expansion of the broadband throughout the state. We have the Miami Valley Regional Planning is also getting involved in the broadband effort, and will probably be asking us to support some sort of them being some sort of a centralized voice for the region. Joanna will keep us posted on that, I'm sure, as those meetings progress. So things are still moving. We're getting, things are moving, and my age group next week becomes eligible for the shot, so I'm going to sign up. And I encourage, like everybody else says, I encourage everybody when it's time, when your turn is available, if you have the opportunity, let's get the shot. We want to be able to bring these Scouts and other organizations in here without masks. We want this thing to end. So I'm looking forward to it, and I thank you guys for all your support. Okay. Anything else before we go to the city manager? Sir, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy birthday to all. And I will also wish my father-in-law a special happy birthday yesterday. He turned 82. During the COVID and during everything else, last August he had a massive heart attack and about lost him. So since then, it was a true blessing to have him alive and doing much better yesterday. So we all need to be reminded of how quick life can turn on that. So happy birthday, Dad. Next, just wanted to briefly, as mentioned earlier, winter safety tips. Yeah, we had some freezing rain out there today, a mix of a lot of things. So as we are experiencing the inclement weather, use slower speeds. Be sure to give snowplow trucks plenty of room for maneuvering and salt throwing. You don't want to be directly behind one, because then you get salt thrown all over your car, and sometimes they can chip. So keep your distance. Also, just as a reminder, during snow events, especially big ones, okay, the first focus is expressway, bridges, overpass, and arterial collector streets. So the main roads are hit first, and once the snow stops, then and only then we head back to the residential streets. So in cul-de-sacs and so forth. So a lot of people don't realize that, and that's the process of that, to keep the main roads flowing. I just want to also, when we do, if we do, let's knock on some wood, have heavier snow, we ask that parked cars be removed from the street to allow the snow plows to clear the streets. This will make it easier for plows, emergency vehicles, regular vehicles to safely pass narrow or neighborhood streets. Also prevent your vehicle from being buried in the snow. Once it's buried and we've already cleared the snow, we will not probably be back to re-clear where your car was once parked. So please, once you see several inches of snow is going to fall, slide your car somewhere to get it off the street. You'll appreciate it not burying your own car. Boards and commissions, just want to, this is on our website advertised, but for vacancies on our city boards, commissions, and committees, we offer Beavercreek citizens the opportunity to serve the community. If you want to be involved, here's a chance. Candidates must be presently live in the city of Beavercreek limits and be registered voters. Volunteer positions are appointed by city council for a specified term, and that will be done sometime, I believe, in February, correct? That last meeting in February, council will be selecting and appointing these positions. Anyone with an interest in serving can apply online. Please go to our website, beavercreekohio.gov. For questions, contact our clerk of council, Diane, at 937-320-7388. And so you must submit the online version by 4 p.m. on February 12th. And again, if you have any questions, please call or check out the website. With our Parks and Rec, this is still going on. I forget what clue we are on. 8, 9, somewhere like that, but our snowflakes are hidden in 10 of our Beavercreek parks. Each snowflake will have a scrambled word or phrase, and basically once you put it all together and decode it, you email parks@beavercreekohio.gov the message by January 29th, so that's this week, so be quick about it. 5 families already have found all the snowflakes and have decoded the secret message. Only 5. Make it more. But one lucky winner who completes the search will receive $50 in park bucks, basically. So that'll help them with activities through the Parks and Rec. So any information, please check out the website, beavercreekohio.gov, or the Facebook page as well. And lastly, Day of Caring 365. I think this is well known by most people. This is going to be different this year. COVID makes it different, but the good news is we've kind of done this before. With our senior center, the drive-through, we've done it. We've got it down pat thanks to creativity of our senior center. Knows how to do the drive-through meals. That we've had several of those activities. So the annual Day of Caring breakfast will be returning this year as a drive-through event on Saturday, February 27th, 9 to 11. And the event's open to the public, and meals are a minimum donation of $5 a ticket. So maybe it's $5 a ticket, but if you know what this is about, maybe you give more. Maybe you double up on it, right? Proceeds benefit Day of Caring 365, a nonprofit organization that helps those in need of hygiene items, food, and shelter through charity donations and fundraisings. Right now, the details are still being worked out for this event, so please stay tuned, and we'll provide more as the time approaches. Other than that, that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this point, this is the time when citizens can address council on any issue they wish. Is anyone here tonight? Please step forward. Seeing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.